Hey guys, just wanted to start this video off by saying thank you guys for giving me to 20 subscribers. It's not a whole lot, but it's a good start. And also thanks so much for all the views you guys gave me on my Joker trailer breakdown and what I thought the movie would be about. And again, I really appreciate you guys tuning in for those. Just want to give you guys a quick tour around of just my studio and everything that I have in here before this video starts. Cal is actually complete, and I'm very proud of how it turned out. Here's some other projects I'm working on for a art project at school, trying to get some Greek style like sculptures. Also got my pride and joy over here in that little Batman stand. So you see right here, got Mayfix Batman from Batman v Superman. Got some good stuff. Got some Legos here, and of course, the big boy. My favorite thing about this room. And again, I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in for my videos and seeing my reviews and everything. And so enjoy this next one. What's up guys, Dawson Weidrich, nerdy in many ways, and you all by now have probably seen the newest teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. So in light of this new teaser trailer, I want to rank my top 10 Star Wars films, and this expands to the spin-off movies like Rogue One and Solo. And so I just want to do that. And again, these are my top 10 favorite, not the ones that I think are top 10 best as far as movie quality is concerned. And so things will come into play like nostalgia, childhood hero kind of things. And so again, if you don't agree, you don't have to. It's just my favorite top 10 list of Star Wars. And so starting off with number 10, it has to be Attack of the Clones. I mean, although it had one of the coolest scenes ever with Yoda showing what he can do with a lightsaber, that was awesome. I remember that being a very cool moment in the theater. But it did not quite make up for the extremely awkward and cringeworthy scenes between Anakin and Padme. I mean, there's only so much talking about sand that I can take. And again, it just didn't quite make up for those scenes with Anakin and Padme. I just couldn't quite get over those. Again, a very fun movie, still a Star Wars movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. It was awesome to see Anakin battling against Count Dooku and finally figure out how he had that mechanical hand that we learned he had in Return of the Jedi. And moving on from that, number 9 is The Last Jedi. Again, this is the most recent of the saga that has come out, and it got a lot of scrutiny from a lot of different people. I've had plenty of conversations with a lot of people about different things they didn't like about it. And again, I liked it. It was fun. It was a very fun movie. I mean, I'm not one to criticize, especially for how movie making is done. Again, it's not my favorite, hence it's number 9 on my list, but I still consider it to be a fun addition to the Star Wars saga. And number 8 is The Phantom Menace. Now, a lot of people have these at number 10 for them, but I actually really appreciate The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace had a lot to accomplish. I mean, you had the original trilogy with A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and you only got to see a little snippet of the world and only knew just a teeny bit amount of how the universe was before, Emperor Palpatine took over and the Empire started to reign. And The Phantom Menace really brought together and helped us to understand exactly how the government worked and what was the main focus of the Republic of that time, and just give us a very big background of what was to come in the next 2 episodes. And also, you gotta admit, Darth Maul is just one of the coolest villains we've ever had in a Star Wars movie, and I'm so glad they brought him back for Solo. And number 7 is The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is another fun one that I thought was really cool. I mean, I like everyone was excited when a new chapter of the Star Wars saga was being added, and The Force Awakens was very fun. I liked the use of Anakin and Luke's old lightsaber. How they got that exactly, I don't think will ever be really explained, but I thought it was really cool how they brought that back, along with Harrison Ford as Han Solo and Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. And also having Chewbacca in there was really cool as well for me. And number 6, Rogue One. A lot of people argue that this is the best and newest Star Wars movie that has come out in recent years, and I'd agree with them. It's definitely a very fun movie, very cool to see the background of how the rebellion got those plans for the Death Star, even though we knew in the end that basically everyone was going to die. And so, again, a very fun movie. I really enjoyed how it really showed a cool and awesome side of Darth Vader that we really didn't get to see in the original trilogy, and especially in the end scene where he is seen boarding one of the rebellion ships and just absolutely destroying everybody, causing so much fear to come over the rebellion soldiers. and you finally get to see Darth Vader really in action like we've seen in comics that feature him, because again, in the original trilogy, he doesn't do a whole lot, except for a couple battles with Luke Skywalker, and maybe choke a couple of Imperial officers. And my next one, number 5, is Solo. And again, Solo was a very fun movie. It felt very much like A New Hope, and you finally got to see the background of Han Solo's 10 parsecs journey and figuring out how he's able to do that. And you also got to see the origin of Chewbacca. And I feel like that Lando was very well portrayed in that film. I feel like they did a really good job of that young Lando Calrissian. And again, it was just a very fun movie. And again, that Easter egg at the end with Darth Maul, although because of a lot of boycotting it might not go anywhere, I thought it was really cool how they made it canon that he did survive in The Phantom Menace after being chopped in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi. And at number 4, I have the original A New Hope. Now, again, a lot of people argue that this is the best one because it's the original. It really brought sci-fi to the media and really made it the norm and the most popular thing in pop culture. And I would agree with that. It's a very, very good movie, very much introduced a lot of what we understand as sci-fi into the movie world and the movie universe. And I do really enjoy it. It just isn't quite my favorite, just because there are parts that are a little slow. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie at all. It's a very good movie. It's just not necessarily my favorite. And my third favorite is Empire Strikes Back. And this is also the one that you can make an argument for as, you know, the best Star Wars movie. In fact, this is my dad's favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and he says there's no question about it whatsoever. And, you know, I could understand those arguments as well. You get to see a lot of really cool stuff along with Luke Skywalker battling Darth Vader, and, you know, meeting Yoda, and finally, you know, figuring out the whole Jedi thing with Luke Skywalker. And, of course, the bombshell with Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's dad.
You killed him. No. I am your father.
And it's probably the most shocking moment in cinematic history, and one that will likely never be repeated, just because, I mean, we know so much about the films we're going to see before they even come out, because there's so many leaked information, and, you know, it just gets out there. The internet is definitely kind of an enemy to the secrecy of filmmaking. And so again, I don't think a secret like that will ever really be as powerful in a film as it was in Empire Strikes Back. My second favorite Star Wars movie has to be Return of the Jedi. I remember of all the original trilogy, I remember watching this one the most, just because I loved how Luke Skywalker was finally coming into fruition as a Jedi. And, you know, you saw him in his Jedi garbs and everything, and how he was learned, he was educated, and he was wiser as a Jedi. And you got to see him do a lot of cool things he hadn't done before. And you also got to see the very powerful moment between him and Darth Vader as they battled, and then of course Darth Sidious being thrown into the core of the Death Star, and just the epic battle that was. Now, a lot of people don't like Return of the Jedi just because of the Ewoks, and you know, that's fair. The Ewoks were kind of a random and kind of a different addition to the Star Wars trilogy at that time, but I think that the rest of the movie made up for it. I feel like that the end was really awesome with the Force ghosts of Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Yoda appearing to Luke Skywalker, just showing their approval, and it really wraps everything up in that original trilogy, and I love how it did that. Now, you'll probably guess which one comes at number 1 for me, and again, this is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm not saying it's the best made or has the best story, it's just my favorite one as far as nostalgia is concerned, and it's the one that I was the most excited to see as a kid, and that was Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, being a fan of the Star Wars films when I was a little kid, I had all these action figures, and we had seen the first 2 films, being Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and I was so excited to see everything come into fruition as far as the Darth Vader story happening. And so this is the movie I had the most anticipation for ever as far as movies are concerned, and I gotta say, it did not disappoint. When I went and saw it with my family, I cried whenever Anakin Skywalker started killing the younglings. I was about 8 years old at the time, and it was one of the most emotional things I had ever seen in a movie theater, or I had experienced. Again, I was young, but at the same time, it was one of the coolest ways to end a origin story of a villain that I've ever seen. And of course, the battle between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi is very emotional, because we've seen these 2 characters grow so close together in the first 2 films, and you know that they've worked so hard together as actors, and to see that all kind of go up in flames as far as these characters' relationship is concerned. Is really emotional and very sad. And I just thoroughly enjoyed this film, and I thoroughly enjoyed seeing the actual true origins of Emperor Palpatine. And again, just the way they had the montage of all the Jedi getting killed off from the clones was very emotional, very, very cool, very good way to round up everything, a very good way to help us understand, okay, so that's where the Jedi went, because we hear about them all the time in the original trilogy, how the Jedi were the most powerful warriors in the universe, and you don't really get an explanation as to why they disappeared. And finally here you get to see firsthand, this is what happened to the Jedi, this is what happened to the Republic, this is why it was destroyed. And so that is the reason that Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. And so that's my ranking video. Again, if you guys had different opinions on some of these movies that I talked about, just leave them down in the comment section below. Again, all of these are just my own personal opinion and from my own nostalgia as a kid. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. Also check out Breaks Comics, and also check out SVU Watch It, the channel for Southern Virginia University sports broadcasting, where yours truly and some good friends of mine commentate different sports for the university. And I specialize in football, basketball. I even go into men's and women's volleyball, so be sure to check those out. All those broadcasts are on that channel, and I'll see you guys next time.